I've got two medals in front of me here today, and they really represent the two different types of medal that were awarded to servicemen in the British Army and the other armed forces. So we've got here a General Service Medal, and this is essentially a campaign medal. So you've got a medal like this for being on the campaign. So everybody that turned up on a campaign got that medal. The other medal that we have here is what we would call a Gallantry Award. And this was for something exceptional, normally in the face of the enemy. So not everybody got the Gallantry Award. And so what we've got here, the General Service Medal and the Military Cross. The General Service Medal, I think, is quite a good one to just look at what a medal is comprised of. And there are lots of different bits, but the main pieces are essentially the medal itself, the ribbon, and you'll see that it has a clasp on it. And the clasp was used to let people know which campaigns the medal wearer had served in. So on this case, this one has got Malaya on it. So it was a counter-insurgency operation in now Malaysia in the early 50s. So that's what this person did to get it. The obverse of the medal, this is the front of the medal, you can see it has on it Elizabeth to Dei Gratia Regina F.D. So Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, Queen, and F.D. is a hangover from Henry VIII actually, because when he wrote something attacking Luther, the Protestant Luther, the Pope awarded him the title of Fides Defensor, or Defender of the Faith. Rather ironic really, since he then broke from Rome, but English monarchs have kept that ever since. So that's what you have on the obverse, and the obverse is the bit that people, a way of reminding or remembering it, obverse, observe, it's what people can see, so it's the bit that's facing people. And then on the reverse, you have a figure of victory, and she's holding a laurel crown. And the laurel has long been associated with victories. It goes back to classical times. And of course we'd say, don't we, don't rest on your laurels. So that's where that comes from. And then around the rim of this medal, you have information about the recipient. So you've got name, rank, service number, and regiment. And each medal has an identifying ribbon. So here you've got this purple and green ribbon of the General Service Medal. If somebody was mentioned in dispatches, in other words, they did something notable that was worthy of having attention drawn to it, it used to appear in the London Gazette that these people had been mentioned in dispatches, and you'd get an oak leaf that you could put on here for that. So sometimes you see these medals with an oak leaf on them. So this medal has got Malaya on it, which identifies the campaign in which the recipient served. This medal was in this form from 1918, so the end of the First World War, right through to 1962. And there were 18 different clasps that could be awarded. They tended to be for what you might call minor campaigns. Well, clearly they weren't minor if you were involved in them, but they weren't, for example, you know, the Second World War or something large. So they tend to be for maybe colonial policing operations or campaigns concerned with the retreat from empire, that sort of thing. And what we have here is a Gallantry Award. This is the Military Cross, which was awarded for conspicuous gallantry in the face of the enemy. And it was introduced towards the end of 1914, and the first awards of it came at the beginning of 1915. And perhaps unsurprisingly, given the size of the army at the time, the bulk of the military crosses were awarded in the First World War. Over 40,000 were awarded at that time. And then just under 10,000 in the Second World War, and then there have been some after that. And until 1993, it was only awarded to officers. Other ranks got the military medal. But I think in our more egalitarian age, we see that gallantry is gallantry regardless of the rank of the person that performed that gallant act. And so from 1993, the MC, as it's known, is awarded to all members of the army in that way. Until the Second World War, people from the Commonwealth could get it as well, and they did during the Second World War. But after that, as they gained independence, they had their own gallantry awards. I like the colour of the medal, actually. I think it's a lovely colour, that purple and white, and you can always spot it if you see somebody with their medal ribbons. It was supposedly designed by a lady called Victoria Ponsonby. And she's an interesting woman because her husband was secretary to Queen Victoria and then to Edward VII. But she's most famous for writing a cookbook. And it was a very popular cookbook in the sort of first half of the 20th century. So she probably designed the ribbon. And then the cross itself, which is like a Maltese cross, really, I suppose, with imperial crowns around it, and the cipher of the monarch. Here it's GR for George V, because it's a First World War military cross. And that was designed by a man called Henry Burke, who was an expert, really, in heraldry. He seems to have, I think he had a job at the College of Arms near Blackfriars in London, and he designed the medal that we can see here. I think it's a very striking medal, and I think it's a very successful one, in my opinion. Campaign or general service medals, which went out to a large number of people, were normally made from a base metal. But an award like this is a bit special, and this is made out of silver. So let's take a look at the reverse of the military cross. Well, this is quite an interesting one, because up until, I think it was 1938, there was nothing on the back. Then they put the date of the award. And so during the First World War, these were normally plain. But here you've got the information about the recipients. So you've got that it was a Lieutenant Whittaker of the R.F.A, which is Royal Field Artillery, and a date, 16th of February 1918, which we will presume is the date of the deed that won him the cross. Two very different forms of award here then. You have the military cross, which recognises an act of gallantry, and the General Service Medal, which recognises service. That's not to say, of course, that many of the people that are awarded this medal didn't perform acts of gallantry, but they either weren't seen or they weren't recommended for the military cross.